Thank you.
So before we go to the audience, Mia, I want to start with you. I find it really interesting where you decided to start the film. I think most filmmakers would maybe include the hostage situation and show it on screen, but you avoid showing something sensationalistic. Could you talk about why you decided to start the film where you do?
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go to French. I hope you don't mind. It's easier for me. Oui, c'était dès le départ très clair pour moi que je n'allais pas montrer ce reporter de guerre dans des situations dramatiques. Je n'allais pas non plus le montrer dans son travail. C'était pas cette partie-là de sa vie que le film allait explorer. Mon film est avant tout une quête, c'est une quête intérieure. Et d'une part, j'avais l'impression que on avait déjà beaucoup vu dans des films des reporters de guerre, et c'était pas ce qui m'intéressait le plus ou ce en quoi je me sentais le plus nécessaire. Mais d'autre part, c'est vrai que mon cinéma n'est pas dans le spectaculaire, cherche une vérité ailleurs, et c'est quelque chose que j'ai toujours défendu et que je crois que j'essaierai toujours de défendre.
Yes, it's true. From the very beginning, it was clear to me that that wasn't what interested me. I didn't want to show those dramatic situations. I think we've seen lots of films showing war correspondents at work, even films about the hostage taking. So that wasn't the part that I wanted to explore. To me, the film is about a quest, an inner quest, and I was much more interested. That's really what my films are about. Seeking the truth that lies inside of us. My cinema isn't spectacular, it's anything but. And I think that the truth lies elsewhere than in those dramatic situations. This has been the characteristic of my films up till now, and I think it always will be.
I have a question for both actors. Roman, you've worked with Mia a couple times before, but for both of you, this is a very new experience. For you, working in India, and for you, it's your first on-screen role. Congratulations. So maybe both of you could talk about what was new and challenging about this.
Sorry, I speak French too. I'm sorry. Non, ça a été un challenge déjà parce que c'était mon premier grand rôle où je suis là tout le film. Et le deuxième challenge, évidemment, c'était de tourner en Inde, un pays que moi je ne connaissais pas du tout, que Mia connaissait déjà. Mais moi, c'était une première pour moi. Et c'est vrai que ces deux choses combinées font que c'était un film compliqué, mais en même temps très agréable à tourner, parce que c'est avec Mia que j'ai rencontré Archie et que tout ça se passait en Inde, et qu'il y a pire quand même.
Yes, there were several challenges in the film. First of all, it's the first film in which I played the leading role, and in which I'm present on screen in almost every scene. That was a challenge. The second challenge was the fact that we chose to shoot the film in India. It was my first time there. Mia knew India quite well, but those two aspects, the cultural shock and the importance of my role meant that this was a very complicated role for me. At the same time, it was also very enjoyable, because that's how working with me always is.
It was my first time playing in a movie, and Mia and Homan have been very supportive to me, and it was really easy working with them. I had a lot of fun on the set. It was so easy, like it was so family-like with the whole crew, that I never felt like I was in a very different area or a field that I'm not used to. So yeah, thank you for this experience. Really loved it. Thank you so much.
I would love to keep asking questions, but I'm sure the audience has some. Please raise your hand. Yes, go ahead. So if I understood the question, it was how could they return to Syria after what had occurred? And the question was for Mia.
He doesn't return to Syria. The ending of the film is in Amman, Jordania. That's where we shot. And we don't really know where he goes back. He goes back to work, that for sure. But in my mind, not necessarily, or probably not to Syria, for the reasons you said.
More questions? Okay. Yes, go ahead. Is this the beginning of your Bollywood career or something else?
I think it's something else and Bollywood too. I think it's for films and starting my career with a French film, and it's really wonderful. And I would love to work in this industry, like more and everywhere else. Really looking forward. Thank you.
More questions? Yes. If Gabrielle is the main character of the film, why did you call it Maya?
That's a good point, I guess. Parce que je me suis rendu compte, au début, dans une toute première version du scénario, le film s'appelait Gabriel est revenu. Et à un moment donné, dans l'écriture, je me suis rendu compte qu'il y avait quelque chose d'essentiel qui passait par Maya. Que Maya, pour moi, c'était le personnage qui permettait à Gabriel de se redécouvrir, de redécouvrir la vie. Et ce personnage portait la grâce dans le film. Et ça m'intéressait, ça me plaisait de souligner ça à travers le titre.
In fact, the very first draft of the screenplay that I wrote was called Gabrielle Has Come Back. But at some point while writing the script, then I realized that Maya was an essential character. It's through Maya that Gabriel is able to rediscover himself and to rediscover life. And Maya brings grace to his life and grace to the film. And I thought that by title and naming the film after her, then I would be able to underline that aspect and her contribution.
Yes, please. So the question is about how Gabrielle is a war correspondent and whether, I mean, if I understand the question correctly, sort of just if you could talk about how that relates to the film and the journey and his drive as a person.
Oui, c'est-à-dire qu'à la fois, il y a cet amour, ou en tout cas ce lien, cette rencontre qui est cruciale, et en même temps, il y a la force de la vocation. Une force un peu obscure, difficile à expliquer, mais c'est ça qui quand même le fait avancer. Et ces deux choses-là, ce lien avec cette jeune fille et cette vocation, s'affrontent dans le film. Il y a une sorte de dialogue, enfin on peut presque dire de dialectique entre les deux, et finalement il doit quitter Maya, il doit quitter l'Inde pour retourner faire son métier, mais parce que oui, le film parle aussi de la vocation, comme à vrai dire tous mes films parlent de la vocation, mais pour autant ça ne veut pas dire que le rôle de Maya dans cette histoire est moins important.
Yes, you're absolutely right. There's on the one hand the love, and the other hand the work, the encounter between the two. During the script, and I was playing with those two fields, two aspects. To me, the sense of calling is very important. His devotion, sense of calling to this profession of his. It's a very mysterious motivation, perhaps, a very violent one for him. But I liked that aspect, the fact that through Maya he's able to go back. There's confrontation between the two, an opposition between the two. I'd almost call it a dialectic, but I like the fact it doesn't lessen Maya's role at all, the fact that he does decide at the end to return to his original love.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear, and it would be easier if you wouldn't mind speaking in English if possible.
I don't know if I quite caught that. Sorry. It was about...
I think there's a parallel between the mother's commitment to her NGO that she works for and Gabriel's commitment to his work.
Oui, dans mon esprit, effectivement, c'est quelque chose qu'il a peut-être en partie hérité d'elle, ou en tout cas, il y a un lien entre eux par rapport à cette relation qu'ils ont avec le monde. Et en même temps, il y a une ironie, évidemment, là-dedans, puisque sa mère, on comprend qu'elle l'a plus ou moins abandonnée, et elle s'occupe aujourd'hui d'enfants, elle aide des enfants, alors qu'elle ne s'est pas occupée de son propre enfant. C'est un personnage ambivalent, mais je crois que j'ai toujours été attirée, dans une certaine mesure, par des personnages qui sont à la fois ambivalents, mais que je comprends, ou que j'essaye de comprendre.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It is interesting, the relationship that both these characters have to the world. There's a certain element of irony in it, because Gabrielle's mother has more or less abandoned her own son, while at the same time devoting herself to other children. Through her work. There's an ambivalence there, and I have to say that that's always attracted me in characters in film.
I guess in my opinion, characters always have, how do you say, their own reason. Like, even I've always been attracted to ambivalent characters, and I try to understand them, even if, you know, sometimes it's hard.
Yes, go ahead.
My impression is that Gabriel takes something from Maya. He takes advantage of her. At the end, what is she left with?
Je comprends que vous ayez cette réaction, mais c'est pas la façon dont je ressens les choses, parce que pour moi, avant tout, c'est un personnage qui passe son temps à résister à l'amour que cette fille veut lui donner. Il ne veut pas de cet amour, il ne veut pas le vivre, et à un moment donné, il cède. Il a, on peut dire, la faiblesse de céder, mais c'est pas comme si il la voulait, comme s'il lui courait après. C'est-à-dire que c'est une faiblesse, c'est quelqu'un qui cède face à une jeune fille qui tombe amoureuse de lui et qui fait tout pour nouer cette relation. Et concernant qu'est-ce qui reste à Maya, le film ne répond pas à cette question, mais ce que je peux dire, c'est que je considère pas Maya comme une victime. Je pense que ce serait pas lui faire honneur, d'une certaine façon. Je considère que Maya est une jeune fille forte, que c'est une jeune fille solide, et que quand elle fait le choix de passer, par exemple, cette dernière nuit avec lui, c'est un choix libre. Et comme je la regarde comme une personne libre, je ne la vois pas comme une victime de cet homme.
I understand your feeling, the way that you see that, but it's not how I experience the film or see it. In fact, if you look at the film, then Gabriel doesn't take advantage of her. He does everything in his power to resist her. She is very much attracted to him, and throughout the film, then a long way through it, then he doesn't give in. He tries to maintain a distance, and it's only finally that he gives in to her insistence and her charm. At the very end, what's left to her, it's true that the film doesn't answer that question, but C'était trop long.
Pardon, sorry, I talked too long. But what I meant is, like, no problem. She's free. I see her as a free character, and therefore I don't look at her as a victim.
I'd like to hear from Roman about how things actually work on set, not just with this film, but working with Mia in general. How closely you stick to the script, what kind of rehearsal process there is, and specifically with this film, how you and Archie work together.
Non, moi c'est le troisième film qu'on fait avec Mia, donc c'est toujours un plaisir, et si je pouvais ne travailler qu'avec elle, ce serait formidable. Mais non, on est, enfin Mia, elle est très, comme on dit en français, carré sur sur le script, c'est-à-dire qu'on suit vraiment le script et les répliques qu'elle a écrites sont les répliques qu'elle veut entendre. Donc on essaie d'y coller au maximum. On travaille de la même façon avec Archie en faisant très attention à respecter ce qu'elle a écrit, ce qu'elle a bien écrit.
This is my third collaboration with Mia. It's always a pleasure, and if I could have my way, then I would work only with her. At the same time, Mia is very strict in terms of what she's written in her script. We follow the dialogue, the screenplay precisely, both in terms of the scenes and the dialogue. She wants us to say the dialogue exactly as is written. So that's really what informed my work with Archie.
More questions from the audience? Yes. So the question is for both Mia and Roman about whether or not you had encountered or met with anyone who had been through similar experiences as Gabrielle to prepare for the film.
J'ai rencontré deux reporters de guerre en particulier. Assez jeune, je trouvais ça intéressant de rencontrer des reporters de guerre qui avaient approximativement l'âge de mon personnage. L'un des deux est franco-américain et il a été otage en Syrie. Sa captivité a été très peu médiatisée, mais il a été otage quand même plusieurs mois. Et l'autre n'a pas été otage, mais il est français et il travaille pour Paris Match. Et leurs deux lectures ont été extrêmement précieuses et même essentielles.
I met with and in fact just showed the script to two correspondents. Both of them were very young. I thought it would be interesting to have their perspective, given that they're the same age as Gabrielle in the film. One of them is a Franco-American war correspondent, and even though his case didn't receive much attention in the media, he was held hostage in Syria for several months. The other war correspondent I consulted is French. He works with Paris Match. He wasn't kidnapped. Both of them read the script, and their contribution to the script and comments on the script were precious, I'd even say essential.
Roman, do you want to add anything, or?
Non, je sais pas trop quoi dire de plus. Non, moi, le travail, je l'ai fait. Mia m'avait conseillé des livres à lire que j'ai fait studieusement, que j'ai lu studieusement. Et sinon, après, voilà, moi, j'ai pas rencontré les personnes qu'elle a rencontrées, mais elle m'en a beaucoup parlé une fois qu'elle les avait vues. Et après, j'ai regardé des images un peu plus précises, surtout sur la scène de quand ils sortent de l'avion et qu'ils arrivent à l'aéroport, où là, on a plusieurs images d'otages qui rentraient en France comme ça. Donc là-dessus, j'ai regardé des images.
No, I didn't meet those war correspondents that Mia just referenced, or meet any others for that matter. Mia recommended a number of books to read, and I read them with great assiduity. She told me a lot about the reporters, what they told her. What I did, however, is watch as much video footage as I could. There are lots of scenes of the war correspondents who'd been held hostage, returning to Paris, like we see in the film, landing on the tarmac and getting out of the plane. I looked at those news reports for clues about the characters.
Par ailleurs, mon grand-père que j'ai pas connu était reporter de guerre. Ça m'a pas forcément beaucoup renseigné sur le contenu du film que j'allais écrire. Je me suis pas inspirée de lui directement, mais disons que c'est quand même une figure avec laquelle j'ai grandi, qui m'a beaucoup fascinée depuis longtemps.
I can add that my maternal grandfather was a war correspondent. I never had the opportunity to meet him, to know him, but I heard a lot about him. And he's someone who accompanied me, who was very present, even though absent, as a child and growing up. And he was someone who fascinated me. And I think that although the film isn't inspired by him or draw on his past, what he experienced himself, then nonetheless it was an inspiration for the work, and was very much in mind while I was creating the film.
We have time for just one last question. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you for a wonderful film, and I'm wondering, now that we're past the halfway mark of the festival, have you heard any news about distribution?
question is about whether or not there's any news on the distribution front for your film.
You mean the distribution in general? Like all over the world? Or
North America
just
especially, probably.
in Canada, or? Yeah, North America. It's they're working on it.
Spread the word. I'm going to have one last question just because I want to touch on this. I love how you show us Goa, how the film and Gabrielle explore the area and how the film moves. And I think it's a way in which I haven't seen India portrayed on film before. Could you talk about how you wanted to represent the area differently than what you had seen in movies?
Merci. Oui, c'est vrai que j'ai passé beaucoup de temps quand même à Goa. J'ai passé du temps dans les années qui ont précédé, parce que j'y suis allée beaucoup. Et j'ai passé du temps quand j'ai préparé le film. Et les lieux que j'ai filmés, c'est des lieux que je connaissais vraiment bien, que je connaissais intimement. Et je pense qu'on ne filme pas de la même façon des lieux dans lesquels on a une sorte de vécu que des lieux qu'on ne connaît pas. Donc ça, c'est une chose qui m'a vraiment aidée. Et l'autre point, c'est que j'ai tout fait pour essayer de filmer la vie de Goa telle qu'elle m'apparaissait, sans vider les rues, voilà, parce que dans le cinéma indien, on fait beaucoup ça. Enfin, il y a la peur que ce soit compliqué de filmer dans la rue, que tout le monde vienne autour de la caméra. Et en fait, on a passé notre temps à trouver une façon de filmer qui permettait de rester invisible tout en introduisant la fiction dans la réalité, quoi.
Yes, it's true. I spent a lot of time in Goa. In fact, I'd been to India frequently before making this film, and spent a lot of time in Goa leading up to a pre-production. I was traveling there often. It was something that I feel that you film settings very differently if you have a personal attachment to them, a personal connection, and that was the case for me with Goa, and it gave fed the film. At the same time, I was very interested in directing, creating an image of Goa and India as I had experienced it personally in my life, and which Mia has said elsewhere she doesn't necessarily see in other films that have been made about India. She wanted to make a film which corresponded to her experience of the country, her experience of Goa. And for that reason, even though it might have been simpler to do what film crews usually do when you're making a film, empty the street, block it off, and have everyone as extras so you can control everything, that didn't interest Mia. She wanted to try to insert her fiction into real life. The fear is always that it's going to be complicated. If you have a camera, then people will swarm around it and look into the camera. It wasn't the case. She invented ways of remaining invisible while being present.
Well, that's all the time we have. Mia, Roman, Archie, thank you so much for being here in Toronto. Thank you, Robert, for translating.
Thank you.
Don't forget to vote for the Gross People's Choice Award and enjoy the rest of the festival.